Hey everyone, just want to do a super quick overview of our tax installment calculator and planning hub that we're planning to release shortly. Okay, so here it is. So we kind of designed this so that you have a couple different access points in. So depending on what information you have currently, we've built this so that it'll guide you along so that you can um, do some planning no matter what information you've got. So whether you have just your tax return, it's going to guide you through the line numbers that we need. Look on your notice of assessment. That's the best place to grab these because those are the official numbers. Or if you have your tax installment notices, which are sent out in February and August, the February one covers March and June payments. The August one covers September and December. So depending on which information you have, we're going to design this so that you use that potentially in combination with a notice of assessment to get your full payment schedule. Or if you have the September and December numbers, then you kind of have all the information you need. So let's just keep it simple for this demo. So let's say March and June amounts were 5,000 per quarter. The Q3 ones, let's say those were 8,000 per quarter. And from there, we can analyze two different payment options. So the no calc is what comes directly on your letters. The prior year ignores the tax return from 2 years ago, only looks at the current one, divides your payable amount into 4 even quarterly payments. But you'll notice we're getting to the same total. It's just how do we get there? One is a little bit more front loaded than the other. So conceptually here, this whole planning tool is designed to help you figure out the least amount of payments that you can make to completely avoid the risk of having tax installment interest. So here we can see that CRA is going to charge according to the lowest interest option of the two. So we need to remit enough payments to offset $1,292 of interest. So now we can also, there's a bit of a risk, estimate what we think the current tax year is going to look like as well. Like let's say the last year or two were strange years. You had, maybe you sold a property or something, you had a huge capital gain. It's not going to be the same this year. You can then toggle this button, gives you a warning. The warning is there because you're making a guess and it's not official. Whereas if we look at the last 2 years, we're using official numbers, so we don't expose ourselves to the risk of being wrong. But if you want to base your planning off of your estimate of this year, we can do that. So just be careful. And then let's say in this case, let's say it was a little higher, so that's not going to be the one. So now we've got the 3 different payment options that we can compare. So it's going to show you the recommended schedule based off of the one up here that has the lowest interest exposure, tell you which payment schedule you should be making payments according to, tells you how much interest and penalties you would incur if you made no payments. If you have already made some payments, so let's say you sent in the first 5,000 that you received on your letter, we'll do that. And once we do this, it'll reflect that payment we've already made. So now we know that based off the payments we've already made or planning to make, our interest exposure is now down to $882 from the $1,439 we started from. Also, if we're talking about, what do we do next, and we've already sent in 5, then for the remaining 3 quarters, it tells us what we need to submit to, again, meet our target, okay? And this is a custom schedule that you're not going to find anywhere else. And it's designed specifically to reflect the payments you've actually made to give you the remaining payments required. Now, we kind of wanted to build this to give you optionality and flexibility depending on your own cash flow situation. Maybe you're going to have more money available later on in the year compared to now. Want to just give you some tools to help you determine what flexibility and optionality you have. So this is the quarterly if you just wanted to stick to the 15th of, March, June, September, December for your installment payments. But maybe, for your own cash flow purposes, a monthly schedule just works better for you. So you can calculate your own monthly remittance schedule to, again, meet the goal of not having any interest exposure. We can make these payments end December of the current year, or if we want to, keep making smaller monthly payments, but for longer out till April of next year, we can toggle this button, and then that's going to extend the payment schedule and update the amounts accordingly. If we only want to base our payments off of the remaining tax exposure we need to submit reflecting the payment that we've already submitted, then we're going to hit this box. If we just want to say what would the payment schedule have been if I made no payments at all yet, then we do this one, okay, and it updates. You can also change the date of your first monthly payment to update the payment schedule. So if you're not going to start your monthly until, like, say, June 30th, then it's going to update the schedule on the 30th each month after that date. Finally, just to keep things simple, we give a lump sum payment option. So if someone just wants to say, I don't want to think about this all the time, I just want to send in one amount and be done with it, you can do that too. So pick your day. The earlier the date, the smaller the amount's going to be, and the later the date. So if you said July 31st, it shows you how much you need to submit on that specific day to get squared up. And then finally, once we do all this planning and kind of the different iterations, if you know the one that you want to use, then you hit your Generate PDF button, and that's going to prepare customized PDF that you can take with you that outlines the assumptions, the 3 different payment schedules, the recommended one, the penalty exposure if you don't remit payments or don't remit enough, and then kind of the 3 different methods, the quarterly, the monthly, the single pay, to reduce your interest exposure down to 0. Okay, so anyways, just really quick walkthrough. Wanted to basically show you what we built here, and we're excited to launch this in the near future. So thank you very much for listening, and have a great day, and hopefully this was of value to you. Thanks. Bye.